I like to think I'm not a bitter person anymore. I'm not actively angry when I think about people who are mean to me at school, but it's been about 3 years since I read Maximum Ride, and I'm still annoyed about it. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but you should judge a cover by its cover design. Ooh, you're not Harry Potter. Better grow wings myself or I'm gonna tumble right off all this edge. Why does the font change to cursive italics here? The fonts are all over the goddamn place. Why is this picture so fucking blurry? I mean, it's probably to hide how badly the wings have been put on there. But Max should be blurred from swooping out of the sky to kick someone, not from brooding on a building like a shit anime rival. This is just drawing attention to how dumb it looks, not even obscuring it with action. A cover is supposed to capture the essence of a book in some way. From this cover, it looks like the book is about angst and fear with the stormy, uncertain future in the background. But at its best, Maximum Ride is not about that. It's about roundhouse kicking wolf people, like the story is jamming out to Panic at the Disco while shouting, "Fuck yeah!" This contemplative design clashes wholly with its in-your-face tagline of edge, and as a whole it's an action-adventure that doesn't look fun. Where is your eye going when you look at this? It goes here to the glittery title, then all the way around while you wonder what the fuck is going on. Just ugh, really? Now look at this fan-made cover by Misha Doodles on Instagram and Tumblr, links in the description. It's kinetic, it draws the eye here to make you appreciate the immediacy of the action. Then you go here to see what Max is landing on and find this intriguing title. Then you shoot up here and you're shown an author's name you might recognize if you get on planes a lot. There is one font, so it's easier to look at, and the background is minimal and dark to make the rest of the elements pop. If you saw this in a bookshop, it would be an instant sell. Is this the best place in the video to put this segment? I don't know, I just really like this cover, okay? Searching for Maximum Ride on Tumblr is the first thing that has really made me want to actually use Tumblr. Okay, so Maximum Ride is a 2000s action YA book series and a much better flip-flopped manga series about a group of genetic experiment bird kids on the run from the scientists who made them. They can fly, they can fight, and they can well fancy each other. So early on the gang find out that one of the wolf dudes, or erasers, is their experiment in arms brother Ari, who was a little kid but is now a hulking monstrosity of muscle and fur. I think it's genuinely a very cool plot point. How does a 5-year-old act when they're given ultimate power? How does it affect the child's psychology if they suddenly have a body much bigger than what their brain is used to? There's so much room for exploration there. He kills a guy to get a Game Boy. That's it. That's his character development. This series has 10 books. I'm going to talk a lot of shit about the series, so on balance I should say that it's very empowering for young readers. Not only in the plot, which sees Fang start a blog asking kids around the world to help them in their quest to uncover what's going on or punch global warming or whatever, but also in the reading experience itself. Chapters are very short and usually end on a cliffhanger, so they flow together really well. If you're a teen who doesn't like reading or thinks they don't like books at all, you might pick this up and read 100 pages in one sitting. And that's going to feel amazing, regardless of the book's overall quality. Anyway, let's get less balanced. One strategy with YA series is to string the reader along with lots of unanswered questions. You have to buy the next book so that your questions might finally be answered. It's a pretty solid, pretty simple strategy. What you find with this is that it's easy to get people coming back for the next installment, but it's rare that any answers revealed at the end of it are actually satisfying, especially if it's a very long series. How could it be satisfying after all that time? What is the mysterious voice that Max keeps hearing in her head? Why and how does she have to save the world? Who is telling the flock lies, and who is telling the truth? What the fuck is up with this kid with the Mac who keeps showing up again and again? What happened to the flock's new powers in book 4 that are never mentioned again? It's pretty stupid, and the answers you do get just make you go, what? And make a face. If you're looking for a series review, here it is. Book 1 is good, then terrible, then great. Book 2 is pretty fun, but throws away its more interesting themes about halfway through to be more action-packed and silly. Book 3 is an absolutely amazing title, but the story is not great. Book 4 reveals it's been about climate change the whole time, and contains one fight consisting of one kick. Then it ends with Max telling the entire world, and you, yes, you at home, to use more energy-efficient light bulbs. And the rest of the series is meandering, boring, and dumb. Just pick up Neverwhere or something and move on with your life. Exactly why Maximum Ride is terrible has been explained enough in angry vlogs you can find just by searching the series title. But what fascinates me is Patterson's interaction with the fandom, or rather, his lack of interaction. James Patterson never talks in any particular depth about his books, and that's fairly reasonable when you think about it. He often produces 10 or more books every year. Even if he didn't use ghostwriters, it would be difficult for him to remember details about any one book, or even any one series over a long career. As a result, interviews with James Patterson are all pretty much exactly the same. Where do you get your ideas? Blah blah. Blah blah rejected 31 times and that's not some kind of sign blah blah. Something that lets you talk about kids reading, okay, that's very nice, blah blah. And his answers only seem to address a broad overview of the ideas of any one book, not the characters or anything specific. He's never done an AMA, and he's never really addressed what was going on in book 4, even though that would be a great way to clarify any message he had. Let's look at a comparable YA series. Animorphs was pretty much Maximum Ride for the 90s and is much better remembered. A gang of kids have to take down a cabal of mind-controlling aliens using only their wits and their ability to manimal into anything they've touched before. There are approximately 400 trillion books, and while a good number were fully ghost-written, many more were written by both K.A. Applegate and Michael Grant together. Researching an Animorphs video essay is going to be one of the easiest things you can do, because Applegate and Grant have done a whole bunch of interviews and a really revealing AMA 9 years ago. Look at this. Early on, one of the teens, Tobias, becomes trapped in the form of a hawk, which is a bit of a dilemma. One fan suggests that Tobias was happier in hawk form, to which Applegate says, life was not good to Tobias. I think he was happier. And with a sentence as short as that, you might start to think about the character in a completely different context. And the same thing happens if someone tells you Tobias was trans. You're not solely thinking about the character in terms of plot anymore. For comparison, if you want to know whether or not James Patterson likes Max, the main character, you're shit out of luck. I wouldn't even know where to suggest you start looking. This disconnect from his audience means that the marketing for Maximum Ride is a bizarre crapshoot into the void. His Twitter and Facebook pages consist of a series of ads for whatever book is next, without saying anything interesting or funny at all. And that deluge of books results in a very little audience engagement. The heaviest Maximum Ride marketing happened when Book 2 was released, in a year where there wasn't a Harry Potter book or movie coming out. So there was this clip.
It's called Maximum Ride, School's Out Forever. Maximum Ride is like Harry Potter.
And there was this vlog by The Summer Obsession talking very vaguely about the book like they haven't read it at all.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen of all shapes and sizes. We are The Summer Obsession and Booyakasha.
Wait, what exactly were we supposed to say?
Which was to promote the fact that TSO had been confirmed for the movie soundtrack. The movie that wouldn't even begin filming for 2 years, and would finally be released in 2016. The movie that was executive produced by Jenna Marbles, which most likely means she was an investor on the project. The story of its time in development hell is legitimately fascinating, so I'll leave a link to the fan wiki in the description. So imagine how surprised everyone was when a 10th Maximum Ride book came out in July 2020, following the adventures of Max's daughter from the epilogue, now called Hawk. It's cool that Charbonnet finally has cover credit after writing 8 of the books, I guess. Patterson's official YouTube channel released a video with less than a minute of about 3 readers gushing about Hawk, but that video is buried under BookTube vloggers making this face in the thumbnails. And if you head over to Goodreads, you find reviews like this. My literal reaction at seeing the existence of this book was ugh. So it's a pretty blatant cash-in, but it's a really confusing one to me. Like, the target audience for this is the existing fan base, who are all really vocal about how disappointed they are in the series, and how they want to change it from the very beginning. Like, it's not even a reboot, it's a direct sequel. I tried reading it. I theoretically paid like £10 to read under 100 pages of it. But then I realised that I didn't have to. I didn't have to sit through whatever edgy adventures await us in this boring post-apocalyptic world. I could close the book, and not open it again, and move on with my life. If early Maximum Ride is empowering because it gets kids to read, then late Maximum Ride is empowering by making them realize you don't have to read them at all. The reality is, it wasn't very popular in its time where any other book series could have been the next Harry Potter, and it's not very popular now with its next generation sequel series. Have I forgiven it for faffing about for 9 books? I don't know. Probably not. I'm just gonna sit here and keep frowning about it for a bit longer. So I mentioned Harry Potter a few times in this video, much like James Patterson does all the time. But what I didn't mention is that J.K. Rowling can fuck off and shut up. Please subscribe.